my revolution is imparting love and affirmation to my daughters and to the young people in my life. It's one thing to do a good job, but it's another thing to be seen doing a good job.
Welcome to the What's the Revolution show, a show for men and the people who love them, where we discuss how men can find and embrace the revolution within themselves, where people can find and embrace the revolution within themselves. I am your host, Dr. Charles Corprew. As we always say, what's good, revolutionaries? I hope all is well and that you are making your way. At the recording of this show, I had been telling folks that that I am a summer baby, and so I am basking in my favorite time of the year. If you have been to Virginia Beach in the summer, you know it is the best time. It is the best time and the only time that I really find my love. I am at the beach every weekend, basking in the sun, because the running joke is that I never want to be my birth color. All right, so never ever want to be my birth color. I want to be the color of my ancestors. So I spend copious amounts of time at the beach. And if you ever find your way down to Virginia Beach, make sure that you look me up. So as you're working through your revolutions, that I may be able to help you. We also implore you to go to whatsyourrevolution.com. We have all of the resources. As you're finding and answering what we think is the most thought-provoking question of your life, it's right there. It's right there for you. You can also book a time with me to talk about your revolution and how I may be able to help you move through answering the question, but then how do you fulfill that revolution? Because that's the biggest piece. Having a revolution is one thing. Executing on it is the other thing. And so we're right here with you. I'm excited about today's show. As I always say, that my good friend or my dear friend or my dear brother, as my good friend Amber Hamilton always says, you got this dear brother, these good friends. Well, actually today, this is one of my day ones. Let me tell you, that's coming on the show. And I just want to say hello and thank you and give some gravitas and gratitude to, Dr. Let me say that, Dr. James Stacy Edwards. And Stacy and I go way, way back. I can't even remember the first time we met, Stacy. Yeah, I can't remember the first time we met, but we grew up in church, Stacy and I call him Stacy, and you probably gonna hear him call me Chuck or Chucky, because that's how far we go back.
Right.
We go back. Stacy and I went to church together, ended up going to middle school. It wasn't middle school for us. It was junior high school. We went to Princess Anne Junior High School, and then both of us graduated from the illustrious Green Run High School. Stacy is 88. I am 89. And then because of his influence, because he was so influential in my development, when he went to JMU, so did I. And so we are both JMU Dukes, and Stacy has a prolific career in leadership. And he has done, I'm trying to think through the Rolodex of all of the things, and I'll let him talk all the things that he has done, but I'll let him talk about it. But Stacy has been in leadership in higher ed for the last 20 plus years, holding a number of positions in higher education, and is now an author, which we will get into it. But my dear friend, my dear brother, how are you?
Dr. Corprew, Chucky, doing well, brother, doing well, man. Great to see you. Appreciate the invite to the show. But doing well, feeling blessed, brother, feeling blessed.
Yeah. It's good to see you, man. When someone is as influential in your life, we grew up, riding bikes, you lived on, what was the street you lived on? Pear Tree? Was it
Pear Tree Arch? Yeah.
Pear Tree Arch. Yeah.
Look, riding bikes, playing tennis in the heat of the summer.
I forgot about that. Oh man, let me tell you, revolutionaries. In the heat of the summer, we'd be out there playing tennis. That was our thing, or playing ball. I was thinking we played a lot of basketball.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yeah,
we did.
Stacy's like 6'2", 6'3".
Yep, yep.
Yeah, so he would block my shot, my 5'9" shot all the time. I think there was one time, I may have beaten him playing one-on-one, but other than that, it was a
uh,
learning lesson, brother.
yeah, no, we had good times, man. That's back in the day when you wanted to be outside and play. You didn't care how hot it was.
Not at
You just
all.
wanted to be outside and play all day. So that's what we.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely good times. Stacey, I want to jump in because, I'm excited to really understand why. And folks, I want to talk about Stacy's book. The book is called Unwavering: A Father's Daily Notes of Love, Motivation, and History for My Daughters. And before we even jump into the book, I want you to talk about what it means to be a father of 3 girls.
Wow,
That's an interest because that's a story, right? In itself, to be a father of 3 girls. What has that been like for you?
man, I tell you, man, it's been amazing to be honest with you. I am a proud girl dad. I have 3 grown daughters and a granddaughter. So my daughters are 27, 25, and 23. And I have a granddaughter who's 4 years old. So
Wow.
it's been a blessing. And to be their father has been one of my greatest joys. Just to see them grow up and to find young women. And, raising them, I always wanted to be the model of manhood to them.
Mm, yeah.
I wanted them to know that when they look at me, this is what a man looks like. This is how a man is supposed to treat you, how to respect you, how to love you. And I always just wanted to be that model for them. And I remember when they were young, took them each on a daddy daughter's day trip.
Mm,
We had our daddy daughter weekends or days where it was just me and them, and my wife Beverly would just do whatever she wanted to do, have a break, and we would go out and watch movies or hang out outside, whatever. But at 13, when each of them turned 13, I took them separately to anywhere they wanted to go. I told them in the continental United States. uh, Things could get expensive. And they each chose a different experience, which really um, was part of their personality, you know, and it was an eye opening experience. So for me, that trip was really an opportunity just for us to bond together as father and daughter, to get to know each other on a more personal, intimate level with each other, because I knew that they are growing into womanhood. And I wanted them to know that, hey, there are good men out here. Your father's a good man. Your grandfather's a good man.
yeah.
You know, and how to be loved, treated, and respected by a man. So that's been, one of my greatest joys of being a father and now a grandfather, because I get to do it all over again with
Yeah.
a granddaughter.
It's a beautiful thing. I want to dive down because it's interesting you say that each of them had their own personal journey that they wanted to walk with you on
Right.
those experiences. And I know this is, a personal thing, but where 3 different trips, where did y'all go?
So, so the thing is, they all chose for some reason New York, but the experiences in New York was very different. So
Mm.
my oldest um, took her to New York, and she wanted to go to Broadway. So we took her to a Broadway play and do some shopping. My middle one, my wanted to go see a fashion show, so I took her to a New York fashion
Oh,
show
wow.
and
Okay. All
shopping.
right.
My youngest, a voracious reader, wanted to visit all of the museums
Yeah.
in New York and all the bookstores in New York. So that's what we did. So each of them had a very unique but different experience in New York that really fit their personality. So that was such an eye-opening experience because at that age is they're coming to their own, having their own individual thoughts, So, that experience was, something also that I wanted them to remember
Yeah.
for the rest of their lives. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful experience, to think about fatherhood
Yeah.
and being able to provide the experiences, a vast array of experiences for your
Yeah.
children. As you were talking, I think about, you said that their grandfather was a good man. I want to give a shout out to your father, Casey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Casey was, I always remember walking into your house and there was always a huge smile. There was always a warm feeling. Your mother and father always provided a warm feeling. It was home. As I was thinking about this conversation, I don't remember if I ever called to say I was coming over to the house.
Yeah, it didn't have to.
You didn't have to. Like, yeah, you didn't have to. I mean, on any given day during the summer, I could be like, hey, I'm on my bike and I'm going over to Stacy's house and just walk in the door.
Yep.
Knock and walk in the door. And there was never a feeling of, well, why is he here? Or, it was
Yep.
a loving feeling. And, your father, Casey, was just like another father to me.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about good men. Like, I look at what he instilled in you and what he instilled in me while I was there. Just that strong fatherly figure of love and vulnerability and happiness and joy, and I think that he's imparted that, permeated all through you as you then move that into your fatherhood experiences.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, we have both lost our
Mm.
fathers. Um, And I know you feel this way of the void that you
Yes.
feel
Hmm.
because they're not here. But I also feel, a joy knowing that, you
Hmm.
know, we were blessed to be raised,
Yeah.
one, by two outstanding parents, and specifically two outstanding men.
Mm.
Because as you could just walk into my house as a kid growing up, I could do the same coming over
Yeah.
to your house and felt welcome.
Yeah.
Sit down, have a bite to eat,
Hmm.
stay for hours, spend the night, whatever the case may be. And so being raised by a great man just really instilled in me just a sense of manhood, what that is supposed to be, work ethic, um, go getiveness, if you will.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just being a man of your word, doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Those basic things of being a man.
Yeah.
And how to be there for your family, um, and how to be an example. So, for me, I won't say it was easy being a father because it isn't, because every day has challenges,
Yeah.
but it was easier because I had a great example.
Yeah.
I had a great example of what it's supposed to look like. And, I just want to honor him just like I know you do want to honor
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Dr. Core Crew, um, for the rest of my days. So we're blessed, man, because our fathers were there for us every single day.
Every single day, Stacey. That is an amazing thing, and I think it goes back to this conversation of you with your daughters as we think about this, because we take that, like, that love and reverence that our fathers gave to us.
Yeah,
I talk to my dad every day,
yeah,
and um, I'm trying to hold it together because I think about your father, my father, and I don't know if you feel this, but I can feel his presence sometimes.
hmm,
Like, I'm doing something, or I'm positioned a certain way, or something, and I'm like, oh, okay, there you are. There, and I'm like, and I quietly say to myself, hey, Dad, you know, meaning that I feel your presence. I feel something that you've given to me, or just feel your presence in that moment with me. And
yeah,
it's just it is an amazing thing to have fathers who poured into us, and how you are then pouring into your daughters. I want to ask you this question. As you think about those trips and being a role model and beacon for your daughters, what do you think they have taken away from seeing, this 6'2", 6'3", stoic, wonderful husband and father? What have they taken away from their experiences with you?
I think one thing that they've taken away is that they're not going to take any mess
Yeah.
off of guys. You know,
Right.
they're not going to fall for the okie doke, if you
Mm.
will. You know, so and I've seen that in their dating years. You know,
Mhm.
they're quick to dismiss a brother who doesn't come correct. You
Right,
know,
right, right.
because
You out.
you know part of it is look, don't be impressed by these silly games that sometimes young
Mm,
men can play. Sometimes,
yeah,
but also remind them that there's good men out there.
yeah,
Um, So I think that's one of the things that they've taken away. I think they've also taken away that you have to allow people to grow. You
yeah.
know, the man that you have now as a father, I look, to be honest, I wasn't always like this. Okay. I made my mistakes. I did my dirt, you know. So, but those things led me to who I am today. But I never really ventured really far away from the core of how I was raised,
Yeah.
you know. So, you know, you have to give men, young men, the chance to grow.
Mm,
And I think that's one of the things that they have taken away from, you know, just watching me is how to be treated, um, what to expect, how to be loved, how to be respected. So those are the things
mm,
that I hope that they have taken away from me. And I hope that what they have witnessed from me and their mother is how to be in a positive, loving, supportive
mm.
relationship.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, what does a positive, loving relationship look like
Mm,
every single day?
yeah,
You know, because what I tell them all the time is, and my wife tells them all the time is, look, we love each other, but we also like each other.
yeah.
You
That's
know,
big. That's big.
because there are days that you know that are harder than others because every day is not easy.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, we love and respect each other.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing that I hope and pray that they have taken away from seeing me every day, being in
Mm.
their lives every day, and viewing, you know, this relationship, this marriage that their mother and I have with each other.
Yeah. We're gonna get to that. My good friend Bev, you look, because look,
Yes.
every Bev, she be like,
Yep.
truck.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my God. We go, I mean, all of us, the amazing times at JMU,
Yeah.
together laughing. It was a lot of laughter
Yeah.
there. You have turned these experiences with your daughters into a book. And as I said, Revolutionaries, make sure that you go out and get this. Unwavering. A father's daily notes of love, motivation, and history for my daughters. We talked about this in the green room, but what was the impetus for this? Like you're pouring into your daughters throughout their life. But all of a sudden now, like there's something else that you want to give them. What's the impetus for this book?
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, years ago, when my girls were still in middle school, high school, and as you know, young ladies growing up, they have so much negativity that's being thrown at them about how they look, what they say, you know, their beauty. So I just always wanted to affirm and support and love them. And so I thought, you know what? And it happened to be Black History Month. And so I said, they all have phones now. You know, they're at that age where, you know, you wonder if they're actually listening to you, right? So I said, well, I'm going to send them some daily affirmations of just love, motivational stories, um, in a quick moment in Black history. And that's where it started. So many years ago, starting in February, on the first day of February, I sent them all of them a text with, you know, good morning to my amazing daughters. Um, you know, and I'll give them a affirmation, a short affirmation, followed by here's your moment in Black history. And that's where it started. And I didn't think that they were listening or actually reading it because after the first 3 or 4 days, you know, they would say, hey, thanks, got the message. But after a few days, nothing. I didn't hear anything. So I thought,
Mm.
well, okay, they're not listening or they're not reading it. I'm not getting any feedback anymore. And so I stopped. And interestingly enough, each of them separately said, "Hey, we didn't get your we didn't get your message this morning, Pop. What's going on?" I said, "Oh, okay, you're listening. You're actually reading it." So from there, I just kept on doing it over and over again every single day, and it kind of grew from there. And now is at a point where they expect it and are looking forward to it, and it's grown to where the word I gotten out amongst family members, hey, this is something that Stacy's doing. So I started sharing it with my nephews and their parents, and it's kind of grown from there. And then I just got encouraged over and over again from family members, my daughters, my wife, to say, you know what, this is something maybe you should put into a book or create a book out of it. And so that's what I decided to do, to share it, because they kept on telling me, look, this is some good stuff here. You
Yeah.
know, it's short enough to read, but it's informational enough to hold your attention, because there's also some history that we've heard of before. So that's why I decided to write this book, Take the Leap of Faith, and that's why I also called it Volume One, because it's my intent to do it every year, to have an additional volume to this book. So this is the first leap.
Stacey, I love it. I love it. As I sit here, and if you don't mind, I want to read just like day one.
Sure. Yeah.
Good morning to my stellar daughters and granddaughter. I am overwhelmed with pride when I think of each of you and pray that each of you is filled with self-love, self-confidence, and self-empowerment. Nina Simone, a singer, pianist, songwriter, and civil rights activist, once said that you've got to learn to leave the table when love's no longer being served. Wow. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Here is your moment in Black history. Baseball legend Jackie Robinson, who became the first African American to play in the Major League Baseball, had an older brother, Matthew Mack Robertson, who broke the Olympic record in 1936 in the 200-meter dash. However, he took home the silver medal because he finished just 0.4 seconds behind Jesse Owens. Create a great day. Love, Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
How powerful is that, Stacy? Like
Yeah.
how powerful is that? If you know what, I want to read day two. Good morning, my fierce daughters and granddaughter. Life can be hard and sometimes unfair. You are understanding that more and more each day. That is the simple truth. It is also true that you are strong enough, intelligent enough, and hold enough to handle it. You are always growing and learning. Remember, our character is not defined by the battles we win or lose, but the battles we dare to fight. Here's your moment in Black history. William Wells Brown's novel, Clotel, or The President's Daughter, is the first written by an African American to be published in 1853. Brown was a prominent abolitionist lecturer, novelist, playwright, and historian in the United States. Brown, who escaped from slavery in 1834 at the age of 20, published the book in London. Create a great day. Love, Daddy. What an affirmation. Like, you think about that. Like, these are affirmations,
Yeah.
Stacy.
Yeah.
These are affirmations from, and I say this, revolutionaries, these are affirmations from a Black man to his Black daughters. And the research, regardless of race, on fathers in the home, fathers that are creating affirmation, is robust, revolutionaries. When fathers are in the home and when fathers are actually in their children's lives, children have a greater sense of self-efficacy, self-esteem, actually will move further along in their educational journeys and have a higher sense of where they're going in the world because of, right? And I'm not discounting mothers at all, because we know that mothers are a given. But when fathers are in the home or in their child's life, the variables increase, the success increases. And we're thinking about a father right now who said, I'm going to continue to pour into my daughters, regardless of what age, to give them an affirmation every day. You think about that, Stacy. Like
Yeah.
this is not only I'll say a blueprint, but your daughters can pick this up and say, "My dad wrote this for me,"
Yeah.
and now publish this for every father or every child to give to their children to think about. Right? It's not just Stacy writing to his daughters. This is fathers giving them to their children to think, "I love you." What a statement that this book can make. Like it's already written. You've written the blueprint for fathers, Stacy.
Man. Wow. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, man, because, um, another impetus behind it, honestly, was the passing of my father.
Yeah.
Realizing that life is short
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not always going to be here, but I wanted to leave them specifically with what would I want to teach them or make sure that they know as they grow into womanhood. Um, what are those life lessons?
Yeah.
And that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the affirmation. And then history is you and I know we are standing on the shoulders of giants.
Giants.
But our history books or our school system oftentimes does not tell our story. And so I wanted to make sure uh, that my daughters, my nephews know that when they look in the mirror, that they look in the mirror with pride,
Right.
knowing that they are, are coming from a long history of history makers,
Yes.
you know, and that they're history makers that aren't in the book, you know, because the last uh, chapter or last page in the book tells them, you know, make your own history.
Yeah.
You know?
And you think about this, as you know, your legacy continues, and I think that is an amazing thing that not only are you a father, but you're a grandfather,
Yeah,
and the ability to have this legacy, Stacy. You think about that. This book is a legacy. This book is an opportunity to be passed down as you know um, a family dialogue. Think about that for a second, like a family dialogue that you've been in and created. And like you said, you know, out of Casey's exhibition of fatherhood, you have now chronicled something that becomes a written tapestry of what it means to be an Edwards.
yeah. Wow, wow. Yeah,
That now, the way that I'm seeing, that now can be passed down for generations and generations. Look what great, 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 great grandfather wrote for us. Can you imagine that?
right. I must say I never thought about it that way, man. I really haven't. But as you say it, just wow, that's deep, brother. That's
That's
deep.
it.
Yeah,
And as we talk about that in itself, Stacy, is a revolution
yeah,
because what you have written allows folks to see. I'm having a bad day. Look what my father wrote. Look what my grandfather wrote. What my grandfather wrote. I've
yeah,
got something now that allows me to think that I can move on. I can move past this. I can read something that is written by our patriarch that will hopefully give me some sense of source or strength.
yeah.
That's the revolution there that many of us don't even think about. That my work has a lasting legacy, not just in the moment,
Right,
for
right.
generations to come. I'd say that I understand that you hadn't thought about that, but that's what this is.
Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate, and I receive it too. I
Yeah.
receive that because you're right, man. You're right. That is revolutionary,
Mhm.
and I definitely appreciate that, brother. Definitely appreciate
Yeah.
it.
We all, when that old adage, when you're laying on your bed, when you're laying on that bed, you want to look back and what did I leave? And we've talked, at length about what Charles Jr. and Casey left for us, you
Right.
know, and that's huge.
Huge,
That's
huge.
huge to think about how those legacies are transformed.
Yeah.
So, Revolutionaries, I want you to go out, make sure you can get it on Amazon. Most likely, you can get it anywhere that books are sold, but right there, make sure you continue to prop up this book and buy. If you want to make sure that your family, your generations from come, are getting this affirmation as well as Black history, this is the book to read.
Yeah.
But I want to move this conversation for a second, Stacy, because there's a couple other major topics I want to talk with you about. That you've been in leadership for a long, long time. There's various positions, from directors into now, vice presidencies at prominent colleges around the country. What does good leadership look like right now? Right.
Wow.
And maybe the better question is, but I'll ask that next. But what does good leadership look like right now? Because right now you're stewarding this generation of students that have the ability to transform how we live, not down the road, but immediately.
Right. Right. Well, for me, good leadership looks like allowing people to find their best selves.
Mm,
And for me to help uh, not shape that, but to help usher that into their own lives. In my years of being in higher ed and being in leadership positions, I often hear, well, I'm just
mm,
add title, or I'm just a little guy, or I just have this position. And what I tell them is, you're not just anything. You are here for a reason and for a purpose, and never diminish yourself in any capacity. Leadership and learning happens on both sides of the table.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, um, it's about finding your best self and being able to really harness that and to grow. You
Mm,
know, my leadership is I want to make sure that you have what you need in order to be successful, both inside this work environment and outside this work environment,
yeah.
and to pay it forward. I want to help you grow individually as a person. That's what I think good leadership is about. But it's also about holding um, each other accountable.
Yeah.
You know, I think about some of the same life lessons growing up. Be accountable. Uh, do what you say you're going to do.
Hmm.
Do it well the first time. Show up on time.
Right.
I think about those life lessons your dad and my dad taught us.
Yeah.
Not only did they say it to us, but they were daily examples of it.
Did. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
look, Stacy, look, Chuck. If I tell you to do something, do it
Yeah. Get it
the
done.
first time.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
there's a certain work ethic that was just taught, and I think those are some of the life lessons and leadership that is important to me. And
Yeah.
so, being a leader for me is also just being present.
Mm. Talk
Um,
about that, Stacey, because I think that in this fast-paced world, um, I work in entrepreneurship and investment, and what I try to employ into the founders who have to become CEOs and leaders of their companies is that you have to figure out how to stop doing your company and begin to lead your company. And
yeah,
leading your company, you have to be present and show up, because there's a part of that showing up will allow people to say, okay, I see this person leading and showing up. So can I. What does that look like when you talk about that showing up in leadership?
it's one thing to do a good job, but it's another thing to be seen doing a good job.
Mm,
And for me, being present is both of those things. I want to do a good job just because it's what you're supposed to do, but it's also important for others to see me and to see my team doing a good job, because it sets an example of what is expected.
yeah.
This level of work and service that we're providing, has to be at a high level. The level of customer service has to be at a high level. These are things that are non-negotiable um, for me. And for me, also being a leader, being present, is also sharing that. Look, it's about service. You can't be present without servicing or being of service to
Yeah,
others.
that's true.
It's not about always being in the front of the classroom or in the front of the board meeting, um, but it's being present and knowing that when you leave your mark no matter where you go.
That's true.
So when it is time for you to depart, all those lessons in leadership that you have hopefully poured into others remains there for years to come.
Mhm.
And as a result of your presence, they understand now how to best move forward,
Yeah.
both as an individual and as a business or as a company. So for me, it's also about being a servant leader, being a transformational leader, to serve others, to pay it forward, but also to transform lives.
Yeah.
Um, because I tell my team and the people that I work with every day, we have the unique opportunity to change a person's life every day.
Mm, say that. Yes.
It could be the smallest gesture, but we have that unique opportunity to do that. And so I want to transform lives, and I want those that I work with to want to transform the lives of others as well. So being present is about doing all of those things consistently, um, and doing it well.
Right.
So when I think about leadership and being present and being a servant leader and being a transformational leader, those are the things that I think helps move us forward. It's not about being selfish. There's some, we won't get into it, too deep in terms of politically, but it's not about being a selfish leader. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about
Yeah.
us
What
and
can I
how
do for
can
my
we move
people?
this forward. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Stacey, it's interesting to say that because um, I've worked, we are of a certain ilk. Let's say that. I won't say of a certain age, of a certain ilk. But in these roles that we're in now, we are mentoring and leading folks who are younger than us.
Hmm.
And what does that mean for their growth and development? I am now, managing one of our folks who this is their first job out of college.
Right.
And every day I tell him how we grow together will allow you to move into the next position
Hmm.
better than what you have now. I am unsuccessful if you leave here without the tools and knowledge that will allow you to be successful moving down the road. That's my job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's my job as a leader. We have goals. So my job is not to like micromanage you or to tell you where you're wrong. My job is to lead. My job is to foster growth. My job is to say, okay, how do we collaboratively work together to move mountains in the work that we're doing? And I think
Right.
that's good. I think that's good leadership. I think that's great leadership. And I've watched you lead. I've worked for you. Shout out to the folks that anybody who worked for the JMU Male Academy during
Yes.
the early 2000s. Um, and I'm sure that I've thanked you personally, but I'll say it out loud to my revolutionaries is that in 2001, Stacy called and said, look, I've got a summer program that I actually had taught at a couple of years before, but I need somebody to actually help me lead the program. And I was like, word. And for 7 summers, um, I was able to lead the James Madison Male Academy, JMU Black Male Academy. And it was one of the best times of my life. And I had some amazing staff to come in and work for me.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for our partnership, like I think back, like, wow, I got to spend summers imparting knowledge and wisdom into young Black boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then being able to impart knowledge and wisdom to young black men who were also stewarding these young black boys because they needed leadership as well.
Exactly.
And the ability to have vulnerability and openness. I mean, some of those times, late nights, man, when the kids were in bed, like some of those conversations, they say, as you know, were just some of the most eye-opening conversations I probably have ever had in my life. Like, wow, this is what we're going through. This is what we're doing. I remember an impromptu cookout after one of the academies, man, and everybody's just like out there telling their stories. Next thing I know, everybody's crying, you know, because of the emotion of 3 hard weeks of stewarding these young men and the things that we were going on in our lives, and just the level of vulnerability that happened during that period of time. And these brothers are all doing well.
Yes.
Like, I mean, like all doing well. And so, I
Yeah.
mean, one of the greatest experiences of my life. And so thank you for giving me that opportunity to come in and work those 8 summers, man, at JMU, because it was prolific. It was a prolific experience. But if we move it back into the conversation, what good leadership looks like is giving people the space and opportunity to grow. I remember Jamal Anthony. Jamal Anthony is funny because we got to a point where I had made him the senior resident advisor, and he would come in and he would be rambling about a problem, and I would sit there calmly,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say, are you finished? Well, are you finished? And I was like, okay, now you've told me all about the problem, but what's the solution?
Right.
And he would him and haw, Stacy. He would him and haw like, ah. And he said by the end of that program, he said, man, I hated you. I hated you because every time I had to come with solutions. And I remember about 10 years later when he got into a leadership position, he called and he said, I'm sorry. I was like, what are you sorry for? He said, because that summer I got so tired of coming to you with problems and you always saying, what's the solution? Well, I was looking for you for solutions. I was like, well, the solutions, if I didn't believe in you, I wouldn't have hired you in the role.
Exactly.
Right. The solutions, right? If you're coming with solutions, now we have an opportunity to talk because the problem's already arisen. There's nothing we can do about it. The only thing we do now is provide solutions. He said, I implore that so much in my leadership now. It binds me in what I do that I'm telling this to my employees, like, okay, we've heard about the problem. Now what's the solution? Let's talk about that. And I think that's leadership. I think that if we can collaboratively come up with solutions together with folks who, Stacey, at this point in time, with folks who are smarter than us.
Right.
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 And our job is to lead them on a path of solution and execution. And when we do that with the wisdom and knowledge that we have, we are much greater.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We are definitely much greater. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of my mentors, our mentors, Byron Bullock,
Yes.
who started the Male Academy, great mentor, would say, look, when your emotions are high, your logic is low.
Mm.
And taught us those conflict resolution type skills. So to your point, so what are you going to do now? How are you going to solve this? So it's giving, to your point, is giving others the space to figure it out.
Yeah.
But knowing that they're not alone in making that happen. And so I think one of the great things about the Male Academy and just that time is that we created a space that allowed others to feel safe.
Yes.
To say that it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It does not diminish your manhood. If anything, it helps to strengthen your manhood.
Yes.
So those are the types of things, as we continue to live and grow and mentor others, those are the types of things that I think about, just to be of service and to allow others the space to grow, but also the space to make mistakes.
Yes. Yes. We don't get that. We don't get that often, Stacey.
Yeah. Yeah. But
No.
knowing that, you make a mistake, okay, it's not the end of the world. We can learn from it and move on.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, and learn from it and move on. And that's the biggest thing. We're not perfect people.
Right.
And we're, every opportunity for us. You know, if we were perfect people, the world would be perfect.
Right.
And we
Right.
see that the world is far, far from perfect.
Far. Yeah.
Stacey, I wanna land this conversation with a shout out to your queen, and as I said, uh, Queen Beverly,
Yes.
and you know, all of us go way back to our times at JMU. Bev has been a symbolic figure in your life. When I say symbolic, meaning that she has been a beacon. She is the mother of your children. She has been the navigation, the guide
Yes.
through your life, the calmness through the storms, through all of that. Talk about the influence of her on your life and
Wow.
leadership. You know,
Wow.
because I say this, revolutionaries, is that I'm doing the study, right? This and it's a study for Charles Corprew that, but most of the successful men that I encounter, the ones that are doing well financially, the ones that are leading and making impact, the luminaries of the world are men that have strong partners. That allow them to think, allow them to grow, allow them to fail, give them space to be themselves. And so Beverly, I believe, has been that. And so I want to know
Absolutely.
how has she influenced your life and leadership?
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I could talk days and days about this, but I will say my beautiful wife, Beverly, has been my ride or die
Mm,
uh, since the day we've met. And her love and encouragement and
mm,
support has been unwavering. Um, I will say that I wouldn't use the word allow. I would say that she has always encouraged and supported
mm,
me to follow my life's dreams and goals. She said, "Where you go, I go,"
mm.
and vice versa.
Yes.
You know, we come from the perspective of what's in the best interest of my partner.
Mm,
Every decision that I have made, she has been my first thought. In every critical decision that she has made, I have been her first thought.
right.
So that has allowed us to grow together, um, and to get through those hard times together. Because we just had simply a strong foundation.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I love my wife. I'm in love with my wife, but more than
Mm,
anything, I like her.
yeah.
She's a good
Yeah.
person.
Yes, she is. Yes, she
I just
is.
genuinely like her. Um, and that has allowed me to grow. So there's not been one time in my life where I wanted to do something and she said, "Nope, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should do it." She'll give me counsel
Mm,
and advice, and then we come to a decision.
yeah.
And even now, she'll say, "What do you want to do?" Just like the young man from the Male Academy. What do you want to do? What
Yeah.
What's your decision?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Um, because through these almost 28 years now,
Mm,
we have loved and supported each other through the good times and the bad times.
yeah.
And so that type of support, is such a blessing. It's such a blessing because you know that no matter what life throws at you, you have the support system
Mm,
that is going to be there. And you don't have to question whether or not it's going to be there. It's there. It's
yeah.
unconditional. Um, and so what a blessing it is to have that day in and day out. So I
Yeah.
can't speak highly enough of the love and respect that I have for Bev, um, and the life that we share with each other. I
Yeah.
tell her often what a blessing she is,
Mm,
because
affirmation. Affirmation.
not only for me, but also for our daughters.
Yeah.
And I tell her, whether it's right or wrong, you are the example of what womanhood is
Hmm.
for them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
you know, and so we just encourage and support each other each and every single day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. 28 years is a long time, you know.
Yeah, man.
Our parent, but here's the thing: our parents were married longer.
Longer.
You know,
Right.
they're married longer, and those opportunities to say, I love you. I'll say this, and I'm sure that you and Bev probably do this. I remember when I moved back in after college, and then I moved back. I moved back in um, for a couple months when Katrina hit, and I was moving to New Orleans, and then I had to move back in for a couple months when I was looking for a home when I moved back from New Orleans. One of the things that endeared me to my mom and dad is that they spent time just talking.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Stacey. They spent time talking at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. I would hear them like just talking
Mm-hmm.
in the bed, like in the bed, just having conversation. And it was nothing. It wasn't arguments. It was just talking. And particularly, the last time when I moved back, as I was looking for a home in 2020. I mean, my father was um, dealing with the impact of dementia. I'm listening, like they're still having these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, like they were married for 57 years, Stacey.
Wow.
Right. And in year 55 or 54 or 53 or 56, you're still talking to each other in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. What a blessing, man. What a
Yeah.
blessing. And I dare say that even after those 50 plus years, they were still learning about each other.
Still learning about each other. Yeah, still learning about each other. I'll
I
just say
still
this,
I
man.
still learn new things about Bev.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's it,
oh,
man.
I didn't know that. And
And we
she's
grow,
still
we change, and like
exactly.
you said, the biggest thing is that if the takeaway is that you gotta like your people, you gotta like your person. And
Yeah.
that takes, people grow and you gotta figure out ways to continue liking each other,
Yep.
continue
Yep.
loving each other. That's it.
Exactly. Because
Stacey,
as
this has been a joy. This has been a treat. This has been, as we say here, this has been an ordinary show because we have great shows all the time, Stacey.
yes, sir. Absolutely.
And I'm just elated and overjoyed that this book is out there for people to read, that your legacy will move on throughout the public, but move on throughout your family. You think about that. I think that's huge. And in saying that, I haven't even asked you the question. Dr. James Stacy Edwards, my dear brother, my dear friend, what's your revolution?
Well, I think you said it earlier, Dr. Corprew. I think my revolution is imparting love and affirmation to my daughters and to the young people in my life. I think
Yeah.
that's my revolution, and to leave those lessons of love and life to them. So that's my revolution.
Yeah. I
So
love it.
yeah,
Imparting love and life and light into your family, into your daughters.
yes,
It's
yeah.
amazing. We all need to be able to figure out how we do that in the world, revolutionaries. Look, we're gonna close out. You know that I'm here with you. Uh, and we always want you to be asking what we think is the most thought-provoking question of your life. What's your revolution? Just go out and do it. Just go out and figure out what your revolution is, like Dr. Edwards did, and then execute on it. That's the biggest thing. Execute on it.
Mhm.
Like, literally, what do you need to give up and what do you need to bring in? What choices do you need to make sure you're a revolutionary? Who are the people that you need to have in your life? Who needs to see this revolution happening? As Dr. Edwards said, I wrote this for my daughters. I want them to see a good man. And then look, once you've executed this, you got to ask yourself this question again, because revolutions end and you got to keep growing. You got to keep being the most revolutionary version of yourself. And if you need help, as I said, book some time with me. Go to whatsyourrevolution.com. Check us out. You see everything we've got. We'll talk to you soon. As I said, I love you. I love you. I love you. We'll see you next time.